The U.S. Supreme Court is taking a closer look at a Texas abortion case that Governor Rick Perry signed in 2013. The fight is over two provisions. One requires abortion facilities to be constructed like surgical centers. The other allows doctors to perform abortions at clinics only if they have admitting privileges at a local hospital. This would leave about 10 clinics open across the state, down from 41. A decision is expected by late June. So how would a decision affect millions of women potentially and the presidential race? That's our topic this half hour, and we want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page. We have our topics listed for you there, as well as Twitter. You can use the hashtag Fox26forlife. Joining us live in our newsroom is our panel led by our senior legal analyst Chris Tritico, our news analyst Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So this is the first major abortion case that'll be heard in several years. So will this law survive?
Well, let me talk about that. First, I just got to mention the best university in Texas won again last night. And
Go
so
Cougs.
we're moving up. Moving up. Cougs won too, but the best university in Texas won. All right, now this is the first, as you said, Sally, this is the first major case since 2009, and it's the first major abortion case that this group of justices has taken up together. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the court reacts to this. And earlier, this court, the Supreme Court ruled that states cannot pass laws that severely limit the right of a woman to have an abortion. That's what the court is going to be looking at here. Does the Texas law limit that right? Those opponents of the law are going to be saying when you go from 40 to 10 based on this law, that is precisely what they did. Mustafa Tamiz, that's what the court will be looking at. What's the prospect here of the court saying, you know what, this is too severe, too restrictive?
Well, look, it's 75% of the clinics that are open today will be closed because of this law.
Are closed.
Well, I think the bigger issue is it's a disingenuous argument. The argument that's made is that this is done to improve the safety of women. And this is not done for that reason. This is done to restrict abortion rights in the state. And state legislatures are being used to overturn Roe versus Wade, what the Supreme Court decided decades ago.
When you look at the previous court's decision, and I think it was 2009, it may have been 2001, I can't remember now, when they said a state does not have the right to pass a law that severely restricts a woman's right to an abortion, how does this law survive?
But it also says that the state has a right to look at medical facilities, and in our law in particular, we are upholding doctors and medical facilities to a higher standard. You know, when Dr. Kermit Gosnell, I believe was his name, in 2013, when he actually killed 3 babies to having an abortion, that's when you saw a lot of these regulations in many states. And so the fact that the states do have a right to regulate medical facilities, that is how this law will be upheld, and that is why this law will be upheld.
Let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Let's head on over to Twitter here. We have Political Fire. She says the greatest threat to pro-choice in decades is what she called this law. And she says the Supreme Court's going to take up now this monumental abortion case. And then this person says the idea that the Supreme Court will hear a case on abortion is frightening to me. I hope they surprise me with the decision. He is pro-choice.
Well, the Supreme Court has consistently upheld the right of a woman's choice, so I don't know why they would be concerned. That's why we have a Supreme Court. But what about this idea that those who are in favor of this law keep saying this is just to protect women's health?
It's a dishonest conversation. I mean, really, we've seen this time and time again, that the state legislatures that are controlled by one particular party is trying to change and overturn a Supreme Court decision that affects the entire union. And in this particular case, they're raising the standard to a point where every major health organization, American Medical Association, various doctors groups say that this makes women's health less in this state rather than more.
Let me turn to the presidential race. Other than talking points, is this going to have a big impact on the race?
Oh yes, this will have a huge impact, regardless of how the Supreme Court, where they weigh in, because you have a split court right now, so it could go either way. We really don't know. And many of us who are proponents of Texas law, of the law that Texas has enforced, are very much, we will be very animated. We will be looking intently to see what the Supreme Court does, because we feel it's Texas's right, it's our state's right to uphold our medical facilities to a certain standard, and to our doctors to a certain standard.
Less than 30 seconds. Regardless of the outcome in the Supreme Court, what's the impact on the race?
Well, wedge issues drive turnout on elections, and this is a narrow wedge issue that drives both sides of the aisle. And so you're likely to see both candidates, both Hillary Clinton, if she becomes a nominee, and whoever the Republican nominee is, use this as a way of getting their base to turn out.